Snow hammered the tin roof. A door groaned, a chain whispered, and a little boy counted his breath so pain wouldn't hear him. Above, a dog scratched once, then fell silent. A boot paused on the stair. "Make a sound," said a voice, "and the cold finishes you." Welcome to EM Facts. Before we start this story, tell us where in the world you are watching from. And if you believe kindness should never die, please subscribe and help us keep stories like this alive. Iron Creek. Montana slept under a white roar, locals called ground blind. Snow so thick you couldn't see your own porch light. In the farmhouse cellar, 8-year-old Milo Hart curled in an old washtub, clutching a quilt that smelled like his mother before she got sick. The bulb overhead stuttered. A padlock bit the hasp. Pipes ticked. He listened for Scout, the yellow mutt he'd rescued behind the feed store. A soft paw scuffed at the floor grate. "Still there?" Upstairs, Travis Riker's voice drifted through boards, slow with whiskey. He liked the winter. It made everything quiet. "Cry and the snow will finish you," he'd said, jangling the chain. Milo pictured the calendar on the fridge, December, a red X over Christmas Eve, and counted breaths Mom taught him. 4 and 6 out, make a fire inside. When the furnace clicked off and the house went hollow, Scout whined. "Shh," Milo whispered. "I'm here." The cold pressed closer, patient as a jailer. When the chain scraped back at last, the cellar door yawned a wedge of grey. Boots thudded down 2 steps, paused, then retreated. The door slammed. Silence pooled. Milo waited. He had learned that in this house rescue often had a trap door. Minutes, maybe years passed. A new sound, a clink near the coal bin. He slid from the tub, breath feathering, and found the tiny window Travis forgot. Frost webbed the glass. Outside, Scout scratched, then whined, then scraped again in rhythm as if drawing letters. Milo braced both feet on the wall, shoved. The pain popped, carving his palm. He didn't cry. He fed the quilt through first, then wriggled like a fox, ribs scraping stone. Icy air slapped his face. Scout licked blood from his knuckles and pressed close, warm as a grate. Above, a light snapped on. Milo grabbed the chain he'd hidden under coal dust, looped it through the hasp, and yanked it tight. "A minute," he whispered. "We just need a minute." The highway was a white tunnel without walls. Wind shoved. Drifts swallowed the ditches. Milo's socks froze inside split sneakers. Scout circled, body against Milo's knees, steering like a tugboat. Headlights bloomed, then blurred by, tire hiss ghosting into the storm. He raised an arm anyway. Nothing slowed. Snow needled his cheeks until the sting went away. Sleepy warmth crept in. Dangerous, Mom had warned. "Stay awake, make noise, count mailbox posts." He whispered numbers into Scout's ear. 12, 13, 14... At 19, his knees sagged. Scout barked, sharp as a dropped plate, then leaped into the road, planting himself before a distant glow. Low thunder rolled closer, not sky, engines. A line of bikes punched through the curtain, lights haloed with ice, leading a boxy chase truck. The first rider braked hard, boot fishtailing, then steadied. A grey-bearded man swung off, eyes going soft when he saw the kid. He stripped his gloves and held them out. "You with that dog, little man?" he asked. Milo didn't answer, only tucked closer to Scout. The man's breath smoked in slow clouds. Others spread in a loose circle, engines ticking as they cooled. Patches flashed in the swirl, Red Valley hellsangels, snow jeweled on rockers. The grey-bearded one shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around Milo, then shifted so the wind hit his back. "Name's Rowan," he said, voice quiet. "Friends call me Grizzly." A woman with a lip scar, April Vega, knelt too, unwinding a wool scarf. "Dog's shaking hard. He's been guarding you long?" "Since summer," Milo whispered. April nodded. "Then we trust him." A rider in a red beanie ran to the truck and returned with a thermos. Grizzly cupped Milo's hands around the lid. Zip, slow. Heat slid into his chest like sunrise through blinds. He blinked at leather and frost and realized no one was asking what he'd done wrong. Only, where's home? And who hurt you? The questions of helpers. They moved like a rescue team because, in their way, they were. 2 bikes idled to cast heat. A third rider radioed ahead to their clubhouse in Grindle Pass, asking for blankets, soup, a cot, and a child services contact. April lifted Milo onto her bike and strapped a heated vest around his torso. Scout refused to leave, pacing tight circles until Rowan patted the sidecar. "Right seat's an honor," he said. Scout leaped in, settling with a huff. Snow turned to bright needles as the pack rolled out, engines stitching a path through drifts. Milo pressed his cheek to April's back and felt steadiness he hadn't known in months. The convoy flanked them like wolves guarding a pup. At a switchback, April shouted, "You did everything right, kid!" "You kept moving." Milo nodded into her collar and let himself believe it. Down the hill, a pair of headlights slid onto the highway hunting. Travis Riker had woken to a chained door and a vanished boy. The storm thinned as they neared Grindle Pass, wind swapping its snarl for a tired whistle through pine. The clubhouse lights glowed like a low fire in the valley, an old lumber warehouse reborn into a fortress of warmth. Inside, heaters hummed, mugs steamed, and the smell of coffee tangled with oil and leather. April carried Milo through the doorway, Scout trotting behind, snow melting into little pools at their feet. Conversations died mid-sentence. Dozens of bikers turned, some scarred, some grey, but all with eyes that softened when they saw the child. "Where'd he come from?" murmured one. "From hell by the looks," another whispered. Grizzly raised a hand for quiet. "Kid's name's Milo," he said evenly, "and he's ours till the world gets its act together." A chorus of nods followed, unspoken law among the angels. Protect the innocent, even when the law looks the other way. Milo clutched the mug April offered, cocoa trembling in his hands. Scout curled by his boots, tail thumping once, the only sound of trust returning. Later, wrapped in a blanket near the wood stove, Milo tried to sleep. Heat stung his frostbitten fingers, but in a good way, like life tiptoeing back. He half-heard voices drifting from the next room, Grizzly, April, and an ex-cop named Riker Sloan, who ran security for the club. "We report it," Riker said. "But careful. If the Stepfather's got local pull, county might bury it." Grizzly rubbed his beard. "Then we don't wait for them. We get proof." April added quietly, "The boy's body tells enough." "Maybe," Riker replied, "but a judge won't sign warrants on bruises alone." Grizzly looked toward the stove. "Then we'll get what the law needs, and if it fails, we'll make sure justice still finds its way." In the corner, Milo's eyes flickered open. He didn't understand the words, but he felt something, safety woven with vengeance. Scout nudged his knee as if saying, "You're not alone now." For the first time in months, Milo let the dark come without fear. Dawn cracked open grey and pink. Snow steamed off the roof, and the world smelled of pine and diesel. April helped Milo button a donated flannel. "You look like a mountain man already," she teased. He smiled shyly, fingers tracing the stitched patch on her sleeve. "Ride with honor." She poured oatmeal into a bowl. "Eat slow. Your stomach's got to remember trust, too." Grizzly appeared, phone in hand. "We got a friend coming," he said. "Name's Dana, social worker out of Bozeman. Knows how to keep kids from slipping through cracks." Milo tensed. "Social workers take you away." Grizzly knelt, eye level. "Only from bad places, kid. This one helps folks find good ones." He paused. "You trust Scout?" Milo nodded. "Then trust who Scout trusts." At that, the dog yawned and rested his head on Grizzly's boot, sealing the deal. Outside, engines started, the riders preparing for a different kind of ride. one that had nothing to do with rebellion and everything to do with redemption. Dana Kepler arrived before noon, her SUV crunching over half-frozen gravel. Late 30s, auburn hair, eyes steady but kind. She stepped inside, stamping snow from her boots, and froze when she saw the patches. "Never thought I'd walk into a Hells Angels clubhouse and find cocoa cups," she said dryly. Grizzly grinned. "Times change." Dana crouched before Milo. "Hey there, buddy. I'm Dana, just here to make sure you're safe." Milo studied her, then whispered, "He hits when he drinks." The room went still. Dana nodded gently. "You're very brave for saying that." She turned to Grizzly. "We'll need a medical report, photos, and a statement." "Already have both," April said, handing over a flash drive and file folder. Dana blinked. "You boys do paperwork now?" "When the law's too slow," Grizzly replied. He poured her coffee, and for a moment the biker and the bureaucrat shared silent respect. Outside, Scout barked once, an alert. Through the frosted window, a pickup crawled up the hill. The truck stopped 50 yards out, rust-colored, dented fenders, and a front plate half buried in slush. Grizzly's jaw tightened. "That him?" Milo whispered. He didn't need to answer. Travis Riker stepped out, eyes bloodshot, lips split, carrying a hunting rifle. "Give me the boy," he yelled. "He's mine." Dana's face blanched. "We need to call the sheriff, now." "Too late," Grizzly muttered, sliding between Travis and the door. Bikers spilled out behind him, forming a wall of leather and breath fog. "You had your chance, pal," Riker Sloan called from the flank. "Step back." Travis raised the rifle. A crack split the air, not gunfire but Scout's bark, sharp as thunder. The boy's dog launched through the doorway, teeth flashing, knocking Travis into the snow. The rifle skidded away. Grizzly and two men pinned him fast, boots crunching. "You touch a kid again," Grizzly hissed, "and snow won't be what finishes you." Sirens wailed in the valley, late but coming. Milo clung to Dana's coat, trembling, alive. Blue and red strobes turned the snow into a breathing storm of color. Sheriff Ben Harlow stepped from his cruiser, scarf whipping, voice gravel rough. "What the hell happened here?" Grizzly raised his hands calmly, self-defense, and showed with a loaded rifle. Dana handed over her badge wallet. "Verified. Child abuse case in progress. I'm the county social worker." The sheriff squinted, taking in the scene. The rifle half buried, the bikers standing silent as pillars, and the trembling boy clutching a dog almost his size. "Riker, get in the truck," Harlow ordered. Travis spat blood and curses but obeyed under the sheriff's aim. "You're done," Harlow said. "Get your hands where I can see 'em." As deputies cuffed him, Riker sneered. "You think this makes you a hero, boy? You'll end up just like her." Milo flinched, tears freezing mid-air. Scout pressed tighter. Dana's voice cut clean. "He's nothing like you." Harlow looked at the Grizzly. "You'll all need to give statements." "We'll be here," Grizzly replied, "till the boy's safe." Inside, warmth clawed back what the wind had stolen. Dana sat with Milo by the fire, recording quietly. "Can you tell me what happened before you left?" she asked. Milo hesitated, eyes on the cocoa steam. "He locked me in the cellar. Said I made Mom sick. Said if I cried, he'd make Scout disappear." Dana swallowed hard. "You did nothing wrong, Milo, nothing." She took photos of the bruises, the healing scabs across his knuckles. "You're brave for surviving." Grizzly watched from the doorway, arms crossed, jaw tight. April returned from outside, holding the torn quilt Milo had carried. "He used this to block the draft," she murmured. "Guess even hell leaves a door cracked for hope." Grizzly nodded. "We'll keep it that way." Dana signed her preliminary report. Immediate protective custody approved. Milo would stay in state care until the courts placed him. "He can stay here tonight," she said. "Safer than the county office." Grizzly smiled faintly. "Kid's already got family." That night the clubhouse quieted. Some men rode out to escort the sheriff's convoy. Others kept watch by the gates. April brewed chamomile tea, pouring it into an old chipped cup. "This'll help you sleep." Milo cradled it, whispering, "Does Scout have to go too?" April shook her head. "He's your partner. Where you go, he goes." The firelight painted Scout's fur gold as he lay with his chin on Milo's lap. Grizzly settled into the opposite chair. "When I was your age, kid, the cold tried to take me too," he said. "Lost my dad in a storm out by Timber Ridge. I thought I'd freeze before dawn, but a neighbor found me. Gave me this jacket." He tapped the faded leather. "Still think about that man every Christmas Eve. He taught me something. No one survives alone." Milo's eyes lifted slowly. "Then I won't forget you." Grizzly smiled under his beard. "That's all the pay I need." Outside, the wind died, leaving a silence that felt earned. By morning, headlines had already spread. "Abused boy rescued by motorcycle club during blizzard." Reporters swarmed the county line. Dana managed interviews, keeping Milo shielded. Grizzly stood beside her, arms crossed against the flashbulbs. "We didn't save him for cameras," he said. "We saved him because we've all been that kid once." Back inside, April helped Milo build a new Lego ship from donated sets the town brought overnight. Each piece clicked like a heartbeat. "It's almost finished," he said. "Just need a mast." April smiled. "Then we'll find one together." When Dana returned with paperwork, Milo asked, "Do I have to go?" "Not far," she promised. "You'll stay in Bozeman for a bit. A nice foster couple with a big yard and space for Scout." He nodded, quiet but calm. Grizzly crouched down. "We'll visit." "You hear?" "Promise," Milo said. "On my road patch," Grizzly answered, tapping his vest. "Loyalty isn't words. It's what you do when the engines stop." The goodbye came at noon. Snow flurries drifted like confetti as Dana's SUV idled. Milo hugged April first, then Grizzly. "You smell like wood smoke," he said. "Means you belong somewhere." Grizzly chuckled. "And you, kid, smell like courage." Scout barked once, tail wagging. As the car pulled away, Milo pressed his hand to the window until the warehouse shrank to a red spark against the white hills. In the rear view, Dana smiled softly. "You okay?" "Yeah," he said. "Just thinking." "About what?" "How some angels ride bikes." She didn't answer, just gripped the wheel tighter. Behind them, Grizzly stood in the snow, hand raised in silent salute. Back inside, he looked at the half-finished Lego ship on the table and added the last piece, a plastic mast standing straight as a promise. The snow fell steady again, but this time it felt gentle, not cruel, as if winter itself had learned mercy. 2 months later, Iron Creek thawed under a sun that felt like forgiveness. Snowmelt carved veins through the fields, and the air smelled of wet pine and diesel. In Bozeman, Milo sat on the porch of his foster home, Scout's head on his lap. He wore a new jacket, patched leather, slightly oversized, with the words "Ride with Honor" hand-stitched across the back. Dana watched from the steps, a mug of tea warming her palms. "You like it?" she asked. Milo nodded. "It smells like a grizzly." She smiled. "He mailed it last week, said he wants you to wear it till you outgrow it, then pass it to someone else who needs courage." Milo traced the letters slowly, as if memorizing hope. Scout lifted his head, ears twitching toward the road. Down the gravel drive, a familiar rumble rose. A dozen motorcycles gliding in formation, chrome flashing under the morning sun. Grizzly led the pack, beard streaked with wind, eyes bright. Dana laughed softly. "It looks like family day came early." Engines idled low as the bikers parked along the fence. Milo ran halfway down the drive before Grizzly dismounted. The boy leapt into his arms, Scout circling them both with wild joy. "Missed you, partner," Grizzly said, voice rough. "You keeping this town honest?" Milo nodded hard. "I started school," And Scout sleeps by my bed every night." April handed him a small wrapped box. Inside lay a miniature silver pendant shaped like a mast. "For your ship," she said. "Every captain needs one." The other riders brought gifts, books, a compass, a new Lego set. Grizzly crouched eye level. "We're riding to the county courthouse today." "Want to come?" "Why?" "To watch justice finally take the road." Milo hesitated, glancing at Dana. She nodded. "You're safe now." Seeing the truth helps it stick. Scout barked once, as if answering for him. "Okay," Milo said softly. "Let's finish what we started." The convoy roared to life, carrying not just engines, but resolve. The courthouse in Gallatin County was a brick relic that smelled of dust and disinfectant. Reporters huddled by the steps as Grizzly's crew formed a silent line outside, engines off, jackets zipped. Inside, Milo sat beside Dana in the gallery. His stepfather sat shackled across the aisle, eyes dull, smirk gone. The prosecutor, Paul Grady, calm and clipped, read the charges. Aggravated assault, child endangerment, animal cruelty. Evidence filled the screens. Photos, medical reports, the rope fragment, the padlocked door. Grady's voice never rose, but each word landed like hammer on stone. When asked if he wished to speak, Travis mumbled, "The kid's lying." The courtroom went still. Dana's hand found Milo's. He stood, trembling but firm. "I'm not lying," he said. His voice cracked, but truth made it steady again. "I just wanted it to stop." The judge's eyes softened, and even the bailiff blinked hard. By noon the verdict came down, guilty on all counts. The gavel struck once, echoing like thunder finally choosing a side. Outside, sunlight poured over the steps as the crowd broke into applause. Reporters shouted questions, but Grizzly lifted a hand for silence. "Justice isn't revenge," he said. "It's the road back to peace." He turned to Milo. "And peace starts with you." "Kid!" Dana snapped a quiet photo, Milo holding Scout's leash, Grizzly's jacket draped around him, the courthouse behind like a conquered mountain. That image would circle the internet by nightfall, titled "The Boy, the Dog, and the Angels." Donations poured into children's shelters across Montana. Grizzly refused interviews, but helped fund a new program under Milo's name, Project Second Ride, pairing abused kids with rescue dogs. At sunset, the bikers left town, their engines fading into gold. Milo waved until the sound disappeared. Dana stood beside him. "You changed more than your own story, you know." He smiled shyly. "Grizzly says when you survive something bad, you owe the world one good thing back." "He's right," Dana said. "You just paid it forward." That night stars stitched the sky like tiny campfires. Milo sat on the porch again, Scout snoring at his feet, Lego ship beside him, complete at last, the silver mast shining faintly in the dark. He whispered to the wind, "We made it, Mom." Somewhere in the trees, a motorcycle echoed once, far off, but steady, like a guardian's heartbeat. He smiled. "And we're not alone." Inside, Dana watched from the window, tears glinting against the lamplight. The world could be cruel, but it could also answer cruelty with courage. Milo leaned back, eyes closing to the rhythm of Scout's breathing and the night's calm promise. The snow began again, gentle this time, covering the road where monsters once walked and angels now rode. If this story touched your heart, remember, kindness is its own rebellion. Subscribe, like, and ring the bell to keep these true stories of courage alive. Because somewhere tonight, another lost soul is waiting for an angel, maybe even one that rides.